If you don't get the word out to a lot of people and you're not in a lot of people's heads, your business is gonna die. You won't be able to find a job. The opportunities, when they come along, no one's going to think of you. If you're doing this on your own, find some sort of system where people understand what you need, and if they can't fulfill that, you're gonna have a lot of friction. Find that person who can organize if you're not the organized person, and then if you are the person who must dot every I and must cross every T, you're gonna need somebody who pushes a little more creatively. When they say, what's your budget? What they really mean to say is, how much can you lose in the experimentation process? Finding the A players, the people who are going to put everything into it and do it efficiently, it's near impossible. I'm still struggling with it. I struggle with it every day. I'm finally getting a clear look at my business. I'll tell you something, I'm a little terrified, but I'm also motivated. Hey guys, and welcome to the Athletic Startup Podcast. My name is Mark Burrick, and on this show, we learn how to monetize your fitness or athletic passion. Of course, that can carry on to any other passion that's not athletic or fitness, but from my audience and the most people that I know, I talk to a lot of athletes. So athletes and coaches are who surround me, and athletic people, and those are the people that I like to talk to. If you don't know about me, I started a company called Better at Beach Volleyball, and we provide camps as well as online courses. We have a YouTube channel, we have a thriving Instagram, and along the way, I figured out that I had a lot to share, and I've always understood that I've got a lot to learn. So some of our episodes, we talk to experts, people who have turned either their coaching business or their love for a sport or a certain type of fitness activity into a business for themselves or monetized it somehow. Today is going to be a little bit of a different episode. I am just going to spitball here and share what I've been going through this week. So if you are interested in the 2-week summary of what I've gone through and how I've been extremely efficient and the problems that I'm facing, keep on listening. All right. Now, every winter we go through a pretty big dip in income. We have a lot of camps all in a row that brings in a bunch of income. But those 7-day camps, well, because I'm constantly tweaking my business, they aren't as profitable as they look from the outside. So if you ask my employees how much we make on camps, they would tell you a gigantic number. If you asked our campers to say, how much are you bringing in? Of course, they would be way off. Nobody knows the inside of a business. They don't know where those dollars are going. They don't know how much you're spending on marketing, who you're paying for different services, and they can't tell you how profitable. Now, here's the problem. A lot of us business owners, we also don't know how profitable it is. So, okay, this will bring me to my first piece of advice, thing that I'm getting my butt kicked in right now. And that's the fact that I have not had a quality, consistent accountant that I can work with on a regular basis. I'll start with this. I'm not that easy to work with. I'm friendly. I often give people the benefit of the doubt. Initially, I don't. I'll say that. Initially, I question everybody. I say, why aren't you working hard enough? I don't know where my distrust comes from. Might be a New York thing. Who knows? But I don't trust that people will ever work as hard as me. And that sometimes becomes a downward cycle. I'm sure you guys have all heard from other entrepreneurs that you always hope anybody working for you or with you will work on your business as hard as you will. And then in other reels, in other places, they say, well, find the A players. All right. Not easy, is it? If you've got your own business right now, you understand that the hunt for an A player, where are they? Where are the people that are that hungry to sell, to market, to do their absolute best? And my knowledge on this, as I've gone through sport, as I've gone through business, and as I've gone through life, is that above average is just that. It's above average. The largest bulk of people, the huge swath of the population, is average. They'll do enough to get by. We're talking B minus, C, C plus if we're going back to school. Above average is quite different. Those are the B plus people, right? B plus is somewhere above average depending on the school you went to. Finding the A players, the people who are going to put everything into it and do it efficiently, it's near impossible. It's difficult. I'm still struggling with it. I struggle with it every day. I was blessed with the fact that I brought somebody who is my best friend into my business pretty early. And the reason he's one of my best friends is because in college, he would give everything he had to every drill that we did. Brandon is not necessarily an A player in terms of performance, getting things done at the most efficient level. He doesn't know more than I know in different areas of the business. However, he pushes through it, he grinds through it, and he tries to solve problems and be independent on his own. And man, if we had more Brandons, 100%, we would be fantastic. Okay, he does his job at a high level because he pushes so hard. Now, we're going to get into in this episode if hard work even matters. And I don't think anymore hard work matters. I don't think hard work matters. I'll get into that in a little bit. So finding A effort is fantastic. It'll help you go a long way. But there are pieces of advice that you hear from people who have been in things 8, 9, 10 years that absolutely just don't make sense to you when you first start. And if I could go back, if you're in year 1, 2, 5, or you're restarting your engines like I'm currently doing, what you need to do is find an accountant. I'm going to get to that. Find somebody who doesn't work in the same exact way that you do. I am not, and I'll tell you right now, I'm not a dot the I's, cross the T's kind of person. I want things to be perfect, but the way my brain works, my emotions work, I look at something, I get really excited. I enjoy the first 80%, seeing massive improvement quickly, and it becomes a great idea. So I push it, I get it rolling, I have that initial inertia, and then I want somebody to carry it. I want somebody who's going to chop it up into little pieces, right? And give me a step-by-step program and write it on a spreadsheet that looks good to me. Maybe not even a spreadsheet, but some visual form that I can understand and looks good to me. So I don't want you guys, and now for me, for myself, since this is, again, one of my, I guess, my personal video journal here, I'm trying to look for people who don't operate in the same way that I do. And since I am not an organized person in the way that I keep my Google Drive, in the way that I keep my backpack, even in the way that I would live if I weren't married, I'm not ultra organized. Things are relatively where they should be, but it's still pretty messy. I would love if somebody could just go through my Google Drive and organize everything beautifully in some tree, some visual format. So if you're like me, if you're the person who has a lot of initial inertia and you get things going and you love new projects and you get bored if you're on the same project for too long, you need to find somebody who creates a magnificent step-by-step flow for you and your company. And it's hard. It's hard to keep trying people out. And this is, I've said this in a few of the episodes, but have a constant call for help, have a constant job opening on your website, have an automatic email that goes out saying that you're hiring, even if you're not. And somehow somebody hears that siren off in the distance and they answer the call and they get back to you and they do things in a way that really impresses you, or you're like, oh, that's what I need. They might come along at the exact right time. Now, if you've ever gotten into real estate, this is how my real estate journey started. Before having a house, before investing $1, I told everyone that I knew that I was a real estate investor. It was advice from another podcast. I think it was the Bigger Pockets podcast. But I told everyone that I was a real estate investor, that I'm doing real estate, that I'm looking for short-term and long-term rentals, that I'm looking to flip. I had no idea what I was looking for, but I put out the word. And because I put out the word, a friend told a friend who was just getting started as an agent, and I made up some kind of thing that I was looking for, and I told her what I was comfortable spending. Isn't that always a weird one? What are you comfortable spending? What's your budget on this? I got to get back to the accountant thing, but what's your budget on this? I was like, well, I don't know. What would I be the most comfortable asking for somebody? What do I think I could make if I went 20 hours a day for a year? If I screwed up, what do I think I could honestly make? And at that time, I was like, 100 grand, maybe. So somebody who had just got started as a real estate agent, they had a senior agent who was selling more expensive homes and more expensive houses. And she had this kind of not crap home, but she had a home that somebody needed to get out of. And they needed to get out of quickly because they were buying another place. And so she came to me and she's like, hey, Mark, I've got this off market thing. I think the house is worth 120. She'll sell it for as low as 80. I know this because she just needs to be able to afford her down payment for this next condo that she's living in, which is in her favorite building, in her favorite area where she wants to go live. And she's got an opening to get in right now and she needs the money. Can you do this? And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, let's do this. I said, I'm in. Anyway, got a giant hard money loan, did all of the comps. A few people are like, well, something's wrong with it, which is pretty typical in real estate. If you're not in the game, the first thing you ask is what's wrong instead of, the good questions like how much money can it make? But I got started in real estate because I just kept announcing it. And the more I announce things, the more opportunities come for me. Now, I know somebody who's been looking for a job for months and hasn't posted once on her social media. She says, well, I'm a very private person. I understand that. I understand privacy. But if you don't get the word out to a lot of people and you're not in a lot of people's heads, number one, your business is going to die. Number two, you won't be able to find a job. Number three, the opportunities, when they come along, no one's going to think of you. Okay. So if you're looking for A, or at least above average players, here's what I want to say to you. Constantly ask for them. You never know who's in between jobs, who's getting a sweet package after being laid from their startup. We got an A player for about 4 months, and he changed the course of our subscription business literally in 4 months. I should have offered him a lot to stay on, but I didn't know if I would have it, and he might have kept going. He might have kept changing it for us. So if you're out there, Mike, thank you. Come back. Keep announcing it. Okay, that's an important thing. And then try to find people who are significantly more organized than you. I think most people are comfortable in trying to hire people that will definitely listen to them, or of course their friend or social circle. And that's largely what I've done. But with all those sirens, with all those calls out, I have found some really awesome people. And by being generous to the people who I saw succeeding. I saw, again, another aside, and I know this is a little wayward of a talk, but uh, we have an affiliate program. And I saw that somebody kept bringing in good money for themselves on our affiliate program. And they just kept getting clicks and clicks and clicks. And funny enough, he was one of our former campers. He had come to a camp maybe 9 years ago. And I was like, hey, I see that you're doing really well on the affiliate program. I want to know how you're doing it. And then he said, oh, well, I'm just going with SEO. I've written a few review sites on your programs, and people, when they look at your programs, then right underneath they say honest review of Better at Beach programs. They click on mine, then they click on my affiliate link after they've read a really positive review, and then they're ready to buy. So he's like, I'm kind of prepping people to buy and with a positive review, and then they're getting to go into the course, buying it, and then I get my thing. And I'm like, what? That's awesome. And I said, thank you so much. If there's anything that I can help, if there's any way I can continue to steer people, I wasn't like, how is this guy getting more money from me? Because any money that he made, it meant he was bringing in money for us. So I got to hire him. I made him an offer, and I was like, hey, do you think you could do similar things for us? Can you build, like, I don't know, ghost review sites and get us more traffic? If you've gotten this much traffic just to your site, when you're not even our website, you're doing something better than we are, and we want you on our team. I want you on our team. So we got him, and now he is crushing SEO and coming up with ideas that I never thought of, wouldn't consider. And the best part is, maybe it's because he's German, I don't know, but he gives me these reports. And I was very honest with him because I've been doing business for a little while. I said, hey, I don't work well with people who I don't have consistent updates from. Because just like in my pro career, just like when I was in college, just like in high school, that distrust comes in and it eats at my inside. If I don't see evidence of you working hard, of you giving maximal effort, I start to lose a little bit of trust. I don't know where you're going. I don't know where my dollars are going. And every dollar to me is, another morsel of food for my family and another little bit of freedom at the end of my life. So where is that time and that money going that I'm giving to you? I need to see it. And because I am who I am, I'm not very good at consistent meetings. Like, hey, we're going to meet at this time every week. That's not how I want to live my life. I realize that it hurts some parts of it, but I need somebody who's just going to be available for text, available for a quick call. Hey, what you doing? Hey, do you have any reports on this? Hey, can you make sure that I have an update? Okay. Find some sort of system. If you're doing this on your own, find some sort of system where people understand what you need. And if they can't fulfill that, you're going to have a lot of friction. And I'm going to get to some of our friction in a little bit. But if they can't work the way that you operate and you're the entrepreneur or you want to be, then you're going to have a problem. Before this tremendous SEO guy who gives me linked PDF reports so that when he says that there's a stat, I can click it and it takes me to the actual website that shows that stat. When he says that there's a web page and that it's got certain numbers, it's linked and I can see that page. This man is crazy organized and it makes me so happy to see those reports. Take us back a year and a half ago. I had hired somebody who spoke really fast, seemed like she knew a whole lot about SEO, but couldn't make things clear to me. And because she couldn't make things clear to me, because, is it a thing where you don't really know something if you can't explain it? Is that a thing? Because if you can't explain it to somebody else, then you're going to have a lot of problems giving something to the world, in my opinion. Because let's say that you're a great scientist, right? And you figure everything out and you write it down, but no one understands your scribble scrabble and you can't intelligently speak about it to the next person. You can't pass that knowledge on. So it becomes dead knowledge. It just dies inside of you. And that's not good for somebody. So you might have somebody who is super good and maybe she knows her stuff, like this person probably did, but she couldn't put it into a form that was clear enough for me and for my company to show me what results it was going to get, how fast it was going to get, and what she was actively doing. And yeah, she didn't last very long and left in a huff. So you need to find people who can really present things quite well. And training people to do that, if you're not that person, is tough. So you're going to need some sort of right-hand man. And the thing is, this doesn't have to be a full W-2. It doesn't have to be a COO or a business ops person or business development. And you don't have to pay thousands upon thousands to get them to consult and build systems for you. Okay, you just need somebody for a couple hours a week to say, hey, this is what we're doing. Can you organize it into some sort of sheet? I just want to text it to you. I just want to call and talk. And then you can summarize all of my thoughts. And the people that we've been working with the longest, who have been the most successful, are the people that can do that. They can take my general talk, sporadic text messages, and not be bothered by it, not be annoyed, shocked, feel like everything's weighing down on them. They just take it, siphon it through whatever personal machine they have in their brains and on their computers, and then they lock it into a step-by-step. And the people who I've attempted to train in that facet have said, I've told them, wait, have they said, or have I told them? Oh yeah, we made a rule with one person who said, let's just go through priorities. Any assignment that I give you, because I know occasionally I'll dump a lot and I see all of the numbers, all of them, you don't. So I might be in emergency panic mode when you have no idea why we are and you feel a ton of pressure from me personally, but it doesn't come from me personally. It comes because we need to succeed right now. So what we did was we assigned a priority level to anything. And she says, hey, is this a must be done today before anything else? Is this a must be done this week? Or is this just kind of on your wish list? That helped a lot, right? Just assigning a priority. And they have those in the project management software, right? They have, what type of priority is this? But you either have to have the discipline, which I don't, to insert and take notes and everything inside of a software like that. Or maybe AI is getting better where you can just type in your thoughts and they'll respond and say, yeah, I'll organize that. If you guys know about it, please get in touch. Or if I can just write or talk into something and it churns out some sort of step-by-step and figures out who to assign it to, that would be great. But we don't have that yet. So, not the moral of the story, but part of the lesson is find that person who can organize if you're not the organized person. And then if you are the person who must dot every I and must cross every T, you're going to need somebody who pushes a little more creatively. And make sure that if you are the business leader, that you're not bottlenecking the company because you need everything to be perfect. I think it was on Facebook's work wall, or at least I heard this from a mentor of mine. And he said that on the Facebook wall was go fast and break shit. That was on their software developers like internal room, go fast and break shit. And what they meant was, I don't know if it's true, but he told me. Anyway, what they meant was, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect. We want to try as many things as fast as we possibly can until we see some sort of little uptick, and then we'll attack the uptick. We'll double back down, and we'll show, and we'll see that. And I love that. I operate like that. But in order to then make that a successful program, you need somebody who can pay attention to the ticks, somebody who's watching it. So seeing whatever graphs or however many visitors you have or whatever charts you use, because there's a billion and one things that can show you a billion and one things. You need somebody who says, oh, hey, look, that was a small rise. What did we do that day that made that happen? What was the anomaly? How can we repeat it? So, yeah, you need some personnel. Yeah, it is tough to do it on your own. And I keep finding that the more freedom that I think that I want right now, the more people and skill sets that I have to hire. I hope that I'm starting to recognize talent a little bit better, but I have a constant call out for people who work with me. Somebody finally sent me a really great email with a cover letter with the secret instructions that I put into every application. I put secret instructions in applications to make sure that I know somebody's actually a detailed person. So on Upwork, when I'm hiring virtual assistants for editing and posting on Instagram, what I do is I'll hide one sentence in the middle of a thick paragraph, and I'll say something like, the subject line must contain the word gator for me to even look at your application. But I say nothing else about it. Oh, and I think I might say to ensure attention to detail. If I get all of the applications back, even if they've got these massively awesome reviews, I don't care. I want somebody who cares about that level of detail and whose natural inclinations and instincts are to focus on tiny little things, because that's not me. So that's who I look for in people. And then somebody, messaged me, and I said it was a very well written email. She included some stories and she included some work, and I was like, wow, this is kind of hitting at the exact right time. So I gave her a call and I said, hey, let's run a few experimental projects, and she might end up working for us. But it's because, and I said, where did you find this? It's because I have a constant dream job, work for us, or careers tab on my website. And I went on ChatGPT and I said, make me a job listing or a job description for this. And I put every job that I have in my company, every task that I do in my company, and every single person who is currently in our company, their job is up there on the Dream Jobs apply for a career with us website. Maybe we need two people in one position to get more output. Maybe we need more than one video editor or social media poster. Maybe we need one person for Instagram, one person for TikTok, one person for Facebook. So if they have the same skill set, I don't care, so long as they can actually create value. Now, let's get back to the whole accountant thing. This is tough because if you're like me, a budget has never existed in your life. For me, budgets simply don't exist. If I see that my bank account is going to zero, I work harder and I try to make more money. I don't plan financially for the future in terms of budgets. The only way that I do that is I try to buy one piece of real estate every year and hopefully make some smart moves. And hopefully if there's some sort of investment to be done, I'll throw a little bit into that. And right now I've got the opportunity to invest in a volleyball facility in Austin, and I'll be doing that because I know that I can have a direct effect on that business. So I don't necessarily plan in terms of budgeting. I don't even know how to budget. And that's why I find that question so insane when people, Facebook ads companies, especially marketing agencies, when they say, oh, well, what's your budget? My budget is unlimited if you do your job. What they really mean to say is, how much can you lose, how fast in the experimentation process that it's going to take us to learn your company and for us to work together efficiently. That's what they mean when they say, what's your budget for marketing? What's your budget for advertising? How much money are you willing to lose and how fast if we don't figure it out right away? And so that's what you have to understand when you're signing up for a marketing agency, when you're trying to hire a new employee. How much money could you lose and not go under or not panic or freak out or go into a meltdown if it takes them 3 months to really be effective? It takes them 6 months to be effective. We hired an ads agency for the second time. And because I wasn't able to pay attention because of a million and one other things in my life, I didn't make it a priority. I'll rephrase that. I didn't make it a priority to meet with them. Potentially, I've wasted thousands. I did give them extremely clear instructions. I did, during the interview process, continue to say, hey, I need us to have regular but sporadic meetings. Regular and sporadic kind of fly in the face of each other, right? But if I need to have a meeting or something's on my mind, I just want to be able to text you and get a quick text response or call you and get a quick call response within a day. I don't think that's a crazy thing to ask for, especially if somebody's paying you or your company a significant amount. And because I wasn't able to do this, because every time I tried to contact them, they ended up delaying it, or what's the word? They said, yeah, click this calendar link. I'm available, blah, blah, blah. Well, in the time that I'm waiting, I need to attack 9 other projects. I'm going to forget. That's going to eat at me on the inside. That's going to get me very frustrated that I haven't gotten to talk to you yet, and that I need to block everything out just to speak to this one person. And either the problem has snowballed in the 2-3 days, 1 week, get the hell out of here, 1 week to meet with me. Either it's snowballed, or I went and I spent all the time just solving it on my own. And when I solve stuff on my own, why am I paying you? So one of the lessons that I actually gave to that assistant who who applied for the job was, when somebody asks you to click on their calendar link or they schedule you for a meeting, always ask if they have any openings sooner. Always ask if they have any cancellations today. Please just call me or text me. I'll be there. I'm letting you know that that thing works 95% of the time. Hey, it's just going to be a quick thing. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, you want to have that meeting next week? Great. I end up calling you in 15 minutes. We get done with the talk that you were pushing off a week from now. So anytime, if you want to move, you have to move people. I've learned a lot of that. If you want to move, you have to move people. So when somebody says that they're comfortable waiting a week for you to talk to them and you're not the priority right now, but that's the only thing that you need right now, you need to be the one who's bold enough to push forward and to say, hey, yeah, I know we got that meeting next week. I just needed 30 seconds. And then don't say, do you have 30 seconds? Just ask what you have to ask. Some people might call that rude, but I would call it rude to ask you for somebody to ask you to wait for a week for something that could be done in a 2 to 3 minute talk, because now you've lost a week of time instead of 2 minutes of their time. Okay. So, are we still talking about accountants? Yeah, we are. Setting budgets for me is difficult, and you have to assume how much money you're willing to lose for how long. But here's what it does, and here's what I learned in the last 2 weeks. if you don't have think about it this, don't think about a budget, don't think about profit and loss. Think about tools. Your dollars are your tools, or your gasoline to be able to get things done, right? So if you only have a hammer, but I told you you had to build something, you need to figure out how to build something with that hammer. Is it going to be ugly? Maybe. Is it going to take a longer time? Sure, because you don't have all of the other tools, right? But the more dollars you have, the more actual tools you get to use. So that's what budgets are. You need to set out how many dollars, how many dollars you're willing to spend for somebody to get something done. And then if they can't within that dollar amount, then they maybe need to be fired. Maybe you're not ready to hire them yet, and you need to find another way to get more tools first. But you can't dedicate all of your tools in all of directions. Your dollars are your tools, or again, your gasoline. When you run out of them, you don't have the ability to make any more moves. So setting a budget is how much money can you make, or how many goals can you achieve with only this much money. So in order to do that, you need to be able to set goals, set clear goals, and then say, this is how much I'm going to spend. This is how much I'm going to pay you. This is your goal. That makes sense to me. And I think I was lying in bed at night, not sleeping, and I finally figured out what a budget is. A budget is the amount of gasoline or whatever you want to call it, but it's the amount that you need to get a certain goal. Now, if you're talking about people need to achieve goals. They don't need to work. I'm struggling with this right now and having some uncomfortable talks, but we're getting it done. People need to achieve goals, not to work. Hard work means nothing. And I know that I'm saying that after saying that it's the only thing that I respect, right? Internally. But results mean everything. Efficiency means everything, right? The sucky part is there's that, like a master plumber. There's a story of a master plumber, and somebody hires a rookie plumber and a master plumber. And when a rookie plumber comes in, he spends 10 hours trying to solve the problem, figures it out, and then he asks for $2,000 because it took him that long to solve the problem and rebuild it. Master plumber, he tinks on one place or takes out one screw or unwraps one pipe, and he says, there you go, it's fixed in less than 5 minutes. You feel bad. You feel like you've been cheated paying that guy $1,000, but the one who spent 10 hours on it, you feel bad for him. However, who's the better one? Who's the guy you want on your team always? The one who can solve the problem, achieve the goal the fastest. He gets your water flowing back through your house. He unclogs your toilet now, today. That's who you want on your team. Hard work is great. And if somebody is average or below average, you better hope that they work hard, because that's all they got. The ability to just grind. If you're looking for A players are efficient. They can get done what 10 other people can't get done in the same amount of time. So that's who you're looking for. Now, sometimes your employees and you just go wayward. You can't be emotionally affected by somebody who says, well, do you know how many hours I spent on that? How much time you dedicate to a solution is not what we're asking for. And that's why I don't really love hourly. You only want to really, I think you should pay hourly for some like unskilled kind of grunt work. But when you start paying people for goals, you need to give them a goal, give them an objective, and their salary is how much that costs. And then they use whatever tools they have in their entire life, their personal connections. They all have Facebook accounts, they all have Instagram accounts, they all have a phone. Their job is to achieve that objective for your company. And your job is to keep giving recommendations on ideas and open their mind to that idea or to the fact that they are infinitely capable. They're just choosing not to look, not to invest. If you are listening to this and you started a business and it's succeeding and you're living on it, and you've been doing it for years, look at what you've already done. You already got a place, you already got customers, you figured that out, and it doesn't change much after that. You figured it out. You need to hire people who figure it out. And you need to be quite clear with their goals. We are changing the way we run our weekly meetings. We wanted different people to pay attention to different numbers because I thought that was important. So Brennan would have different people report different numbers. Reporting numbers, what we thought would get them to do was have a certain pride that a number has not skyrocketed yet, or that it's not improving, or that it's linear, or that it's improving slowly. These meetings are going to change. These meetings are going to start being, here is your goal for this week. Next Monday, the first half is, did you do it? Did you not? Why not? After a certain number of fails, that person has to go, be replaced, or just change roles. Okay? And they can't keep hogging your time. So, Monday, Friday, whatever day you want to meet with your team, and I will say that consistent, constant touches are very important. I know you're the CEO. I know you're the entrepreneur. I know that you're going off and doing your own things and that you have a million tasks. One of the most important things you can do is have regular check-ins. Remember, regular and sporadic, I think that they can be the same because I can talk to somebody 3 times a week and maybe I just talk to them 3 times on Monday and Tuesday. Or I can have a set meeting on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But that's not how I operate. Maybe it is how you do. And remember, you need to hire the people and be very clear with how you operate. Because if you're the one running the company, then they need to be the ones who catch up to that. If you think that you're hiring somebody awesome, hiring an absolute expert, and you kind of want to placate to them for a little bit, so you want to get on their schedule and say, okay, yeah, I will make time to meet with you at this time every Wednesday because I think you're the one who's going to be responsible for getting this part of my business to the next level. That's a consideration you have to make. So what we're going through right now is the fact that, and I always have a blame myself first mentality. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to have a blame yourself first mentality. And let me tell you why. If you don't, you will be mad at a lot of people. You have to blame yourself. You have to figure out what you didn't communicate. You have to figure out what systems you didn't create. You have to figure out what numbers you didn't ask for, what goals you didn't set. Right now, the guys in my company are lacking goals, clear goals, weekly goals, achievable goals, and that's 100% my fault. So what we're starting to do now is set goals in our Monday meetings and just attacking one thing. Then on the next Monday, did you hit it? If you're setting unreasonable goals, That's one thing. You have to be careful that something might be unreasonable. But if you're setting achievable goals that equal actual progression in numbers that you need to hit or want to hit, then, hey, 4 fails, they got to go. And that's it. So, if we can summarize there, guys, thanks for thanks for listening to my vlog here. But you got to blame yourself. You have to find the people that you can work best with. And it might take you a lot to find that. It might take you a lot of tries. Don't give up. Find an accountant who is willing to talk to you and converse with you the way that you want to, because I promise you from experience, if you don't have that accountant, and I know that they can be expensive, they don't have to be. They don't have to be. But if you can find somebody who talks to you the way you want to be talked to, and who can present information and do work and be responsive in the way that you need them to be responsive, you've got to get that accountant in place, because without them, you can't make decisions. You don't know what tool you have or how much gasoline you have to get yourself to a certain destination. Your dollars are the tools that allow you to achieve a certain goal, and that's how you have to think of them, okay? And you have to be willing, even if it's partial goals, even if it's keep your books slightly organized. They don't have to do the 100% version of that job, so long as it allows you to continue to move forward and it doesn't stop you from moving forward. Me and my accountant history, and I've gone through now 4, and some of them just wouldn't be available, weren't ready to text when I needed, were pushing meetings 2 or 3 days in advance, and I cannot operate like that. So they left. They're out the window. Now, I'm finally getting a clear look at my business, and I'll tell you something, I'm a little terrified, but I'm also motivated. And I'm motivated because I can see clearly what's working, what isn't, what needs to happen. And I'm thinking of the dollars in our business now as tools for getting jobs done. And I'm very conscious of who I'm spending that money on and what they need to produce. And I think that will help you too. If you got any advice for me, reach out at Mark Burek on Instagram. I would love to hear it. If you're looking for a job and you are a I dotter and a T crosser, I'm always looking for people who I can work with who enjoy talking on the phone at random and can disseminate information into clear, presentable places. But we are moving in the right direction. It's uncomfortable. I'm blaming myself, and I'm moving forward, and I'm setting clear weekly goals, not having people report on numbers. That's what I've learned this week. Thanks for listening. This is the Athletic Startup Podcast. Bye-bye.